Hey guys, Rich Farmer here with KRC Realty and Property Management. Today I want to talk about some best practices while we're going through COVID. So let's get started. These are things that you can use, and let's start off with number one. I think some of the things we need to do, showings. Well, first of all, the things I'm going to give you, these are regarding showings, whether a property is vacant or not. It could be someone living in the house, or it could be a vacant property. Everything should be done virtually if possible. Photos, virtual tours. You can use FaceTime tours, etc. Don't leave brochures or flyers in the property. I probably won't even put them in the flyer box. The listing agent does not need to be there, but the listing agent needs to know when someone is entering the property. So there's a form you can use. It's called the PEAD, and you need to have everyone that's going to that property sign that form. I'm going to be doing another video on forms here later on, and I'll get that posted as well. It's going to go over all the new forms that are out there. Allow no more than 3 people to enter the property at one time. This includes the showing agent. You want to maintain social distancing. In a smaller dwelling, consider looking at the property in shifts. That's always a good idea, just to keep that going. Showing agents should meet clients at the property, outside the property. Any person in the property must agree to social distancing 6 feet apart. This is set forth in PEAD, and PEAD is a contract. When your clients sign that, they're agreeing to the terms of doing that. So the listing agent and selling agent are going to get these documents signed, and your clients need to know on both sides that they're actually signing a contract. The seller should not be present inside the dwelling at the time, at the same time as other individuals. If the seller or tenant insists on being present, then they must sign the PEAD form. They have to sign that form saying that they agree to people coming inside the house. Any person entering the property shall provide a written declaration that, to the best of their knowledge, they are now currently ill with cold or flu, but do not have a fever. Persistent cough, shortness of breath, exhibit other COVID symptoms. Considering limiting persons showing to serious potential buyers. Okay, so if you can get away, you want to do a virtual tour on everything. And if you have a serious buyer, they're going to be using the RLA-CAA form. It's going to be the residential listing agreement, the new one that's out. I would require pre-approval letter, certification of funds or showings with accepted offer only. Any person entering the property shall provide written declaration that they will wash their hands with soap and water, use hand sanitizer prior to entering the property, wear disposable rubber gloves and protective mask. Now obviously people aren't walking around with sinks. So even though they're signing a declaration saying that they're going to wash their hands with soap and water, they could wash their hands before they leave the house, and then their hands are all over their steering wheel, or if they stop and get themselves a cup of coffee from Starbucks on the way. So I think the best thing to do is, if they carry hand sanitizer in the car, at least make sure they have the mask and the rubber gloves. Now, the listing agent could provide the mask, okay? But you really need to consider, if you're a listing agent, if you want us to leave hand sanitizer, mask, and gloves at the property, because the minute you start doing that, you're gonna put yourself at some liability there. And why? We have a law called fair housing. Fair housing states you have to treat everybody the same. If you're going to put gloves and mask in a property, you need to make sure it's stocked up at all times. Otherwise, if you say gloves and mask are at the property and people go there and they're not, then they could actually bring suit for a fair housing violation that you didn't provide them for masks, but that you didn't provide masks to them, but you did for everybody else. So what I would do is I would push, if I was the listing agent, I would push that off on the buyer's agent. The buyer's agent needs to make sure that they provide for their client. Otherwise, you're going to get in the business as a listing agent going out and buying masks and gloves, and you don't want to be doing that. So one of the things the PEAD form does as well, it's an agreement of the seller allowing any person to enter the property, and it must be expressly obtained. You just can't go. We used to have those days where we'd say vacant on lockbox go. Even if the property is vacant, you cannot just send a client these days. You have to have every client sign that PEAD form. The owner has to know that somebody is going to be coming. The listing agent and seller needs to know. As long as the seller's given the listing agent authority to allow people in the property, then just the listing agent needs to know, but you just can't go. You just can't go in there. Everyone has to sign that PEAT form. I would ask the seller to turn the lights on, leave the interior doors open, drapes and blinds as well. I would have them pull back the drapes, open the blinds, so the buyer's agent or the clients don't have to go through and hit the light switches. I'd put all that off on the listing agent. If I were a listing agent, I had a property, well, that's exactly what we're doing at this time. Even if the property is vacant, the listing agent should be doing these things. The listing agent, when they know they've confirmed someone coming, they should go make sure all the blinds are up. Because some owners, as we all know, they like the blinds shut. They don't want anyone, they don't want anybody looking in their house. If the house is vacant or even if it's furnished, they don't want the blinds open. So that's the listing agent's responsibility to go in there and do those things. Use video more and more, as much as you can use video. You want to use video out there, but please remember copyright issues. So you just can't pull something off the internet. You just can't pull old pictures off the MLS or off the internet. There's copyright issues that you need to be aware of. Try virtual staging. We've been using virtual staging on some of our properties for years. It works great. You got a vacant house. I know a lot of agents will go and they used to use staging companies. If you're going to use a staging company, what happens? Everyone that's going to go inside that property has to sign a PEAT agreement. It's the crazy world that that we're living in right now. So to save yourself a little grief, I would probably do virtual staging. No open houses, no brokered caravans, no tours. None of that stuff is going on right now. You just can't do it. Consider a virtual open house. That's something you could do. You could do a Facebook Live, walk around the house. People can ask you questions. You can put it out there on social media. There's a lot of ways to get stuff out there. But one thing you're going to do, if you're going to do a virtual open house, again, you have to have the seller's permission before you do that. So make sure you get that. Sign everything electronically. Avoid face-to-face conferencing. We have DocuSign. We have text messages. Just pick up the phone and make a phone call. So avoid face-to-face. Get everything electronically signed. Everything has to be signed. So, but you don't want to, obviously meet your client and hand and pins back and forth and everything else. So those are things that I would definitely do. Hope these best practices help you out. If you have any questions, give us a call. Again, Rich Farmer, KRC Realty Property Management and Mortgage. Have a great day.